Alrighty, let's remember how to paddle. And get used to speaking. I was doing a paddle. I normally only really chat to birds, if I'm being honest with you. So this is going to be me talking to myself, technically to you, for as long as the battery in that camera lasts, to be honest. This is all a bit of a test of new equipment and bits and pieces. As you can see, I've got a little lapel microphone on, which is attached to my phone. I've got a little 360 camera up at the front that will be, unfortunately, probably on me a decent chunk. However, as and when I stop and point out birds and bits and pieces, or, you know, there's those doggies over there having a solid old swim, who would want to miss that rather than look at, well, this guy. Yeah, who knows if I'll actually end up releasing any of this, but it's just to give it a good old test, what I think I can probably achieve on the regular. Just out and about on the water and trying to make a bit of content whilst I'm out here, in part to share this beautiful scenery. I'm currently on the River Hamble, only 15 minutes down the road from me. This is even the river that inspired me to start paddleboarding, driving across the motorway on the way to work every day, looking out over the Hamble and thinking, why the fuck am I going to work right now? Why the hell am I not out there? So, last October, I think it was, a brave decision, crazy some would call it, I started getting out on the water. That is either a little egret, I'm going to go with little, it doesn't look like it's got a yellow beak, it could be a cattle egret, but it's so teeny tiny. Yeah, I'm going to say that's probably a little egret. Oh, really blue bill, yellowy feet. Pissed off that I have taken a look at it. Sorry. I'm not coming to say hello, don't worry. I was only just observing your majestic nature. Tiny friend. We'll get a wiggle on. But yeah, this is the river that really inspired it all. I continue to simultaneously be amazed and thankful I live somewhere where this is so close, but also so annoyed at myself for not getting into something which I thought might be fun sooner and missing out on this, which is practically on my bloody doorstep. Absolutely stunning. Absolutely incredible. I should probably stand up. This is a stand-up paddleboard, not a leaning paddleboard. I just came down to start recording and all the rest of it. Double check. Yeah, we're still recording. Yeah, we're all good. All right, let's get a bit of speed. Get up in the air. There. Mild amount of trepidation and fear today, having a camera that is apparently maybe waterproof, but also apparently the waterproofing claims are not that truthful. Relatively precariously attached to the front of the board, although actually I was pondering a adhesive mount or something like that, but where I want this to be kind of raised up on a selfie stick so it's a bit of a better view, not just of my feet. You can go to my OnlyFans for that. Bit of a better view for me standing up and chatting at the camera. I wanted it a bit higher up, but with GoPro clamps and a dry bag, which I can't access whilst I'm filming because it's become an integral part of the setup, it actually seems like it's pretty stable. I think quite a lot of things would have to go wrong for it to end up in the water, which I know I've just cursed myself or something, but oh well. Right, let's give this a college try. Easy as that. Easy as that. No, a bit of a wedgie. It is the beginning of March 2026 right now as of recording. What's the temp? It's a pretty good temperature. 7 mile an hour winds. Oh, how annoying, I don't have the temperature on that bit of my watch. 11 degrees out right now, which is bloody wonderful. Yeah, the wind it's not too strong, it's on the higher side. High tide today is at about 11:45. It is 11:30 right now, so I'm sort of heading out. I have been sort of heading out with the tide, although I can tell it's starting to plateau, starting to think about going the other way, but I should definitely be able to come back with the tide, which will be nice. Always helps speed you along a bit. There you can see the water heading away from me. That's probably more the wind direction than anything else, which is blowing against me. A good test for this mic. I am dubious of it staying on my body because it's only got a little, well, I mean, it's a pretty good magnet in fairness, and I'm not intending to attach it to other random bits of equipment or get too ambitious with it. It's always going to be on the top or something, so it should be able to grab fairly well. But that's also why I went with a £30 lapel setup from Amazon, which actually, as a professional sound engineer in a past life, I'm kind of blown away at the audio quality of this thing. It is far better than it has any right to. Came with 2 of them in a set if I want to do interviews or something, I don't know. But either way, that's basically a £15 microphone. The receiver is attached into my phone in my pocket. My phone has a lanyard on it, so I'm not too worried about that. But even if the entire setup got trashed, 30 quid. Yeah, it's cheap enough that I'm quite happy to replace it. I'm not gonna, very unlikely to upgrade to something more radical unless somehow the audio quality that I've been testing at home sounds like absolute garbage out here, but I find that pretty hard to believe. And I'll be doing processing and stuff to it anyway, because it's not very difficult to do. High pass filters, any content creators out there, high pass filter on your audio. You have no excuse on dialogue to not put a high pass filter on. Get rid of everything below 80 hertz. None of you, I refuse to believe that any of you are talking below 80 hertz. That is obscene. You are not Barry White. You do not have that such a silky smooth voice that you're going to benefit from it. And you know what, actually this leads me on to probably my first little rant though, end up putting up. What the hell are we doing with holding lapel mics right up to our mouths as if proximity effect ever sounded good? Or it makes, oh man, I just don't get it. Yeah, I appreciate you're getting a lot more frequencies. It feels like it's a lot lower range. You're probably hearing your voice closer to how you hear it yourself through your ears, because you've got a lot more lower frequencies and stuff. It doesn't sound quite as weedy, I guess, because a lot of how we hear our own voices, we're hearing the vibrations through our bones and our skeleton. That'll one day rise and join the good fight. But it sounds bad, guys. It sounds really, really bad. It really, really upsets me. You can, with a bit of EQ, with a bit of compression's a good time. Listen to Wolfpack. Wolfpack are all about compression. They've made their own compressor. Like, compression's where it's at. Compression and a high pass filter, maybe a little bit of EQ. Definitely a high pass filter. Now get your recordings, your vocals sounding so much nicer, so much cleaner. We are no longer radio hosts from the 70s and 80s, deep throating a microphone. There's no time for that. Similarly, like when you see on podcasts people holding a fucking SM7B. Jesus, guys, you spent $400 on a microphone. Says the guy who has a SM7B for his Discord setup. Despite not being a streamer or content creator particularly or anything along those lines. But I am an audio nerd, and collecting nice gear is part of the joy, but where you've just bought that stuff for a microphone and you fucking hold the microphone, that is just insanity, madness. Put it on a stand, get your grubby little mitts away from it so you're not banging into it and shaking it around and whatever other bollocks. Man. None of this is difficult. Audio engineering isn't that difficult. But yeah, high pass filter. I will sing about this until the cows come home. I hate, well, there probably aren't that many people like myself listening to watching YouTube videos on their desktop PC with studio monitors and a sub. So, and you know, all of these videos are being edited on phones, on AirPods, on MacBook speakers, whatever it is. So you can't even tell, you don't even realise that it sounds like there's an elephant falling down the stairs every time a plosive from your mouth hits the mic. Because you haven't put a high pass filter on your audio. All of this unneeded extraneous frequencies are just bumbling through. And yeah, it sounds like there's a fight happening under my floorboards or something. Ridiculous. We don't need it. If you've got some fat bass in a track, obviously you're not going to put a high pass on it. That's the point. But the secret, the trick with mixing and anything like that is it's very rare, if ever, that you would boost frequencies. You certainly could. There's reasons to do it. It's good fun at times. Can make stuff sound more exciting or whatever. But really, you should be aiming to carve out a place in everything that you record for whatever instrument, voice to sit in nicely. If you're carving out space, making space for everything, it doesn't suddenly get so muddy and muddled, and you can hear all the different bits and pieces. And some, you know, if you're, I don't necessarily say audiophile, that's become a bit of a bizarre thing. I got sent a horrendous image of someone attaching a flashlight to their subwoofer with silicone tits on top, and it's like some horrendous suction blowjob machine. It was only a shitty little like 5-6 inch sub. It's not even going to blow your socks off. You know, I've had the pleasure of mixing with double stacks, twin 18 KRK, not KRK, Jesus Christ, KV2 subwoofers. That's how we get to bow rupture territory. Ideally on a 21.5 inch sub, and you're gonna have people prolapsing for days. That's the dream, that's the goal. But man, sure wish I knew what the fuck my point was. Mix better. Do all the bits and pieces, it's not difficult. I know a lot of people buy these microphones and use the internal noise cancelling or whatever else, and I don't even think this mic has the ability to do any of that kind of processing, and I kind of don't want it to. I want to see how it sounds. I can put it through Isotope or RX or something if I want to denoise it. Do all that myself. It's not difficult, but I appreciate not everyone has a largely useless degree in music technology and has been a sound engineer for a decade. You haven't just amassed a strange pile of equipment over the years. I can hear something behind me. I'm going to get on my knees to not deal with the wake. It is a bloody lovely day out for it. Enjoying the water in any ways we can. I hope that fella on the beach over there is alright, just having a break maybe. I don't particularly feel like having a break, so I won't. We'll go a bit further more yet. Although this nice little alcove here is nice to stop into. I've done a group paddle with the local community who go out paddle boarding together. That ends up being kind of one of our first little stops for a drink break or smoke break or piss break or whatever it may be. Because it's been in the water for about 40 minutes now. Regrettably, a good 15-20 minutes of that is coming up through Swanwick Marina, but it is a really nice convenient little car park to park at and be super close to the water, so you can just hop in. The other one is, woohoo, yeah, am I ever glad that I fucking went at my knees. Yikes. This, exactly why I hate paddling on the sea. I live a stone's throw away from the Solent. I've got the sea right on my doorstep. Technically this river is all seawater, but Waves, man. I really admire some people who can just slam away and do it. I really do admire him, but I am not that guy. I imagine if I did it more, I would be more confident with it. But it's just this extra kind of thing you're constantly fighting against, and especially when the waves are behind you coming in the direction that you're going, you can't even anticipate all the ups and downs, and it's manageable, but it's just this extra stress that I don't want when I'm paddling. The fuck is that? Ugh. Shrimp. Really, really grim. Ugh. Okay. Can I paddle to a shore and get rid of this? I'd like to think that the answer was yes. Oh, icky. Fine. Put the fucking disgusting mat on me. Would I be doing this if the camera wasn't on? Honestly, yeah. I'm not really equipped to take it home with me, but I can at least get out of the fucking water. And I'll zoom into at some point so you can see all the lovely sewage that Southern Water so lovingly pump out into the sea in the local area. As if that's remotely an acceptable thing to do, but they are disgusting, scummy, slimy cunts. So what do you fucking expect, eh? Ooh. Alrighty. Ooh, it sure is muddy. Yikes. Trust money. Oh, he's zowie. I could drag this on to the shore, couldn't I? Yeah. Yeah, there she comes. There she comes. Come on. Come on. Let's undo that for a minute. I don't feel good about leaving this up here, but it's better than it being in the fucking water. Grim. Oh, I just heard a woodpecker. How delightful. Oh, I'm going to take this chance to maybe try and see. Half battery, okay, that's not so bad. Sure thing. I hope I'm recording all the things I want to record at. We'll find out. Might as well take this opportunity to have a little water break. Wasn't planning to. I have a piss break too. Oh, let's go do that. Oh. BRB. Watch the board. Yeah. Big piss, big fun. Oh, muddy. Also, as this clip proves, I am wearing a PFD. Don't come at me. But as you might be able to tell, I sure have got a dad bod. Despite never having kids. This is exciting. Muddy. Ooh, so many banks and hills and such. Get over that. It should be pretty neat. That's not ideal. Okay. Well, we'll see if the Harleyland receiver keeps up after having a fucking dunk. Okay, we'll rethink the strap a little bit. Ooh. Push you up there. Yeah. Slightly vaguely happier now. Okay. Oh. That was an excursion, wasn't it? How exciting. Despite getting balls deep in the water, deeper than I was really planning, it's quite a nice refreshing temperature, to be honest with you. Now, anyone that knows me will know I am a human radiator. I bloody love the cold. On a spa day, going to saunas and stuff, as much as that is lovely, the thing I'm looking forward to the most is a cold plunge. That really is where it's at. So, yeah, I was out on Basingstoke Canal on Saturday, and dressed like this. Had some gloves on, which I didn't particularly feel the need for today, partly because it just makes interacting with technology slightly more annoying. Though they are in my dry bag if I really felt the need for some reason, but I appreciate it's close to winter, but the water really is not that cold. If you're someone that really feels the cold, really struggles to warm up again, then probably a different stance on it than I have, but that was honestly just quite nice. Not really any different to being in the water September, October, whatever it was last year. A few times I've fallen in. It's only ever been when I've been around paddling with other people, actually. I tend to be a bit more cautious. What? By myself, he says, struggling to stand up. Oh, well, you're still flashing. I guess maybe it has to split clips into chunks or something. You can still see the red light on it. I'm going to assume it's still going. I think it was recording for about 24 minutes there, so maybe it does 24-minute chunks. File size restrictions and all that, who knows. As I said, this is all a test. I didn't expect to put my phone and the mic receiver in for a dunk quite so soon. But, doggies! Look at them. Having the best day. Wondering what this nut job on a brightly coloured massive chew toy is doing. Hi! Yeah! I know. Oh. Come on, owners. You could let them have a prance about. Be nice. So, well, this would be a bloody good wind test. It slowed me right down. Oh, at least it'll be nice to come back with. Hello. Am I like the most amazing distracting thing ever? I bet I am, aren't I? Hi. Hello. Hi. Yeah. Dogs are the best, man. I am surrounded by cat lovers, but cats are fine. Not the biggest fan in the world. But I think, you know how cat people tend to say, oh, they gravitate towards people that don't like them or whatever. I think with me it's because I just am always chucking out so much heat. I'm running hot all year round, that kind of just a fairly solid cushion. And I'm quite happy to give some decent scritches as well. So, that's what I think it is. I think they know there's a shared mutual ambivalence towards each other. They can be quite sweet at times. But equally, I've never had a dog try and sit in my lap and actively then just extend its claws into my exposed leg as a gent that wears shorts all year round. Although I have just got a utility kilt for work. Not that I am remotely Scottish. But I did some searching. It seems like it is not considered cultural appropriation or whatever if you aren't sporting tartan that is kind of claimed or owned by someone. Something over there. It looks like not even a little brown bird, like a slightly larger brown bird, but which SLBB it is beyond me and with my contacts in. It's kind of brown, whitish chest. Who knows? Birds. Birds. As if I could make a video and not talk about birds. I bloody love birds. As a kid, I used to trace birds out of bird books. Not that I'm artistically inclined any longer outside of music and sound and that side of things. And I suppose my entire job of being an immersive experience designer. But we'll talk about that at some point in time, I'm sure. In fact, you'll see content about that at some point in time. I work at a very, very silly place. Very wonderful place, actually. I feel very lucky that I get to do what I do for a day job. And I'm just starting to transition into being the technical lead for the Dark Arts Potion Bar and Illusion Group in Southampton. Pretty much the only themed bar in the city. Also with many escape rooms, which are all designed, built in-house. Last few years I've been teaching myself effectively how to maintain them, build them, working with the business owners to create new experiences. We're about to launch Questboard, my beautiful wooden child that I made in a month in a frenzy in a basement to kickstart the process of going, here's this really badass thing Now we need to commit to designing puzzles and quests for the rest of our lives. Which is an interesting decision to make, although fingers crossed, Mondays, Tuesdays, 16th of March onwards. You can start earning gold, you can be doing quests, side quests, or mini quests I think we're calling them now. There's a main quest, some very, very fun, exciting things I've ended up being able to create for all of that. With the intention that there'll be a rotating series of puzzles and seasonal puzzles and that kind of thing, swapping up all throughout the year to give you a reoccurring reason to come back and both experience the bar and also try your hand at puzzles, all again designed all in-house by us. Bit competitive, leaderboards, monthly or seasonally winners, all that kind of stuff. We're still piecing together what that all means, what the final details will be of it, but it should be a pretty cool time, honestly. I'm really excited about it. Our play tests have gone amazingly. I think it's probably one of the best experiences as a business that we've designed. It just seems like it is. If we could do that every day, that would be amazing, but also a lot of work. But yeah, if you're in the area, it will only be Mondays, Tuesdays, unless it gets insanely popular, I guess, but we do so many other experiences. I don't think we could, it would be illogical for Questboard to overtake everything, nor is it something we could have set up all of the time. Which if you come and play it, you'll understand why. It uses the entire bar in a very different way. It does mean, unfortunately, we can't run our other experiences at the same time. But yeah, designing lots of bits and pieces for that. I'm going to be helping out with the social media side of work as well. Not that I'm learning about social media as much as anyone is, but it's partly why getting this little setup for my paddleboarding, it'll come in handy for work as well, I have no doubt. Yep, that was my toggle for that. That tracks. But we are hoping to start building a new bar. And I know we'll be filming a lot of behind the scenes content for that. I have no doubt that this camera will be used for a huge amount of that because we can set it and forget it, which is the ideal, because it's going to be a huge, huge amount of work. And again, I just feel so lucky that I get to call that a job. After my paddle today, I'm going to be making some miniature bunting for a fantasy city watch, policey crime scene for one of our Questboard puzzles, just to give it a bit more silly set dressing. And it'll be yet another instance in my life of being able to think, this is my day job. This is what I get paid to do. I am very, very fortunate to be in that position indeed. But birds. How the fuck did I get that off topic? Birds, bird watching. A year or so ago, maybe 2 years now, I think, actually, I had a stern talking to with myself and went, look, you bloody love birds. You love sound, listening to birdsong, all that kind of thing. Why wouldn't you want to get out there and see them more? I'm very fortunate. I live very, very close, obviously, to the sea. So a huge amount of seabirds, wading birds, all that kind of thing is very, very close by. Obviously in the Southampton area, the New Forest, had an incredible walk around the New Forest on Monday. Got some lifers, which is not what bird watching is about. As much as getting lifers is cool, it's fun, it's nice to document it. I write all down in Merlin. Started using the BirdX app as well as of this year to kind of document whatever I see this year. But you see people doing big years, you see family and friends who are doing kind of annual competitions because they are ornithologists, ecologists. They're very much in the industry of it all. And it's fun for them to have a kind of competitive side of seeing how many birds they can see each year. It's the drive, it's the reason for them to get out and about and see birds, and I think it's amazing. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me, ultimately, if the only reason you're doing it is to check it off on a list and get the dopamine hit from that, you're missing the point. It should be about the birds. Getting the chance to share incredibly beautiful spaces like this with such stunning little creatures, with such unique little lives, such vivid, different aesthetics and looks, who are unashamedly themselves, hanging out sometimes. These guys are all shouting away, probably because there's some nut job on the river again. I just want to get some little flies and fishies. What is he doing? Which I apologise for. But yeah, I partly got into paddleboarding to do more bird watching because I particularly love water wading birds. I think they're just absolutely stunning, incredible birds. I would say the dipper is probably my favourite bird. I have yet to add it as a lifer, but I'll get that one day. There's no rush. And just making the time to go out, be a little part of nature, is a few better ways to spend your time, I would say. Yeah, I find it incredibly relaxing, incredibly zen. Because sound is such a huge part of my life, I did end up buying a parabolic microphone, which almost was like okay, I'll buy myself a toy, and then that will be why I start birding. And I'd looked over the years in the past and just come to discover that they were prohibitively expensive for what they are. Yeah, you can get an old satellite dish of a house and try and bodge your own together, but I'd rather get a decent product that is a sensible amount of money, does the job I want it to, might not have the sexiest mic on it or whatever else, but I'm not trying to become a field recordist, make that my profession. It is purely for my own enjoyment. And over the course of my career in sound, live events, all that kind of thing, I've picked up other bits and shits and equipment. I've got a little field recorder, battery powered thing, and ended up stumbling across a couple of years ago a company, I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but I'll try and put a link up or something, who sell in the UK reasonably priced parabolic mics. I think the mic and such was maybe £100 with a dish and the mic and a handle and a wind guard, and that is so much better than spending upwards of £1,000 on a setup that you could take to a football stadium. Oh my goodness. You look over there in that tree, inexplicably, as I still find it crazy, it's a dinosaur. A dinosaur of a bird. Cormorants, I believe. It looks like a cormorant to me. I knew there were kind of water residing birds. The first time I meaningfully saw them was Blashford Lakes, which is stunning. I highly recommend visiting there if you are in and around the Hampshire southern area. And they just had, I initially saw a bunch of them out on the water, basking, holding their wings up. Oh, there's another one there. Yeah. And then just turned my head to the left in this hide and just saw 40, 50 plus of them just hanging out in trees like these guys. I think that's crazy. You're not a passerin. You're not a perching fella, but I'm not going to say that cormorants are the honey badgers of the bird world. I think they have a bit more chill than honey badgers, but they're not following anyone's rules, are they? They're just hanging out, basking in the sun, sunbathing, enjoying nature, having some fishies. Downside better than working in an office. Not that I've ever really done that. Because I'm not that guy. I'm the guy that'll make you some little bunting, or a massive wooden child, or a puzzle table cabinet, puzzle box combination, or theatre LED portals, which inexplicably still exist apparently, although I did not make them very well. I did not know what I was doing. If they still exist and they still function, it's pretty cool. Yeah, so I started going out bird watching and using that parabolic mic to just add to my overall experience. I'm not really someone that's interested in having a massive DSLR telescopic lens, camouflaged setup. Well, the shots people get are beautiful and stunning, but again, it feels like, are you doing that because you love nature, because you love birds, you want to capture photography and share that with people, or is it because you want to get a sick photo and it happens to be of a bird and you just want to get the likes and stuff up, as opposed to just getting to hang out and enjoy some Canadian geese flying by, honking away. It was nice to see them coming back from their winter holidays, presumably. Now that it's starting to warm up over here. Honking away. Man, they are upset at something. Maybe there's cormorants. Maybe me. Oh, they might be greylag geese actually. I couldn't really see them with the sun in my eyes, but going overhead there, I look back at the footage, they look more grey. Maybe it's because I misspecied them, misidentified them. I'm terribly sorry if that's the case. Very much an amateur birder. But do it for the love of the game, don't you? Do it for the love of the birds. Very much an amateur paddleboarder, obviously, but what am I doing? About 3-4k an hour. I was doing up nearly 6k on my way out, but I'm kind of going against the current a bit, I think. Or getting to maybe a bit of slack tide in places as well, against the wind. Well, I'm in no rush, I'm not. I don't do this to train for marathons or whatever, timing myself for the sports side of it. Am I recording my stats in my workout app? 100%. Did I even exercise if it's not recorded? Of course not, it just doesn't count. Do I exercise terribly often? Obviously not. Yeah, honestly, I mostly do it to get a little map recording of the route that I took without really needing to plan it or think about it or whatever. And I'm already indoctrinated into the Apple ecosystem, so having a watch that does the recording and stuff for me and my phone and all that it's not difficult, is it? Just another thing you click, yeah, all right, that'll do. Off you go. As you may be able to tell, if for some reason you're watching the version of this that has me just chuntering away, tangents are going to absolutely happen. I've been thinking for the last month or so, for reasons that I'll bring up in another video at some point, about doing this setup, recording like this. And I can see, you know, on a longer paddle like this, I could record a whole bunch of different videos all at the same time. As you're probably aware, we'll release a version of this with some music or something in the background that doesn't have me chuntering away on it. At some point, maybe I'll just do some silent-ish paddles without me yapping away. But today was more about testing how all of this works. Getting out in the water with a bit of a purpose. Fairly spontaneous today. I wasn't planning on it necessarily. I now avidly look at the weather forecast, look at the local tides, look at the wind speeds to try and see if everything lines up. And I can maybe get out on the water for a bit. And now that the weather's better, I want to aim like I was doing towards the end of last year before it got super cold. And just unbelievably wet and rainy and windy. Wind was the ultimate factor. I'm not a total wuss. I have got a dry suit now. Real sexy two-piece. Again in ridiculous bright colours because why would you not? I spent 10 years of my life basically in live events wearing black every day. And I'm not remotely goth or anything else. So now in the city job that I work at, I avoid wearing black like the plague. Unless I'm running specific flavours of experiences like escape rooms. Because it does look more professional than me in whatever other nonsense I'm wearing. But, oh, bloody hell, we really are in slack water here. 3k an hour. Absolutely shit. Always like when you get to these kinds of speeds, I do start wondering, like, have I got something caught on the rudder? On the skeg? Over the fin? Flappy boy under the board? I think it is just being so used to going with the current and then all of a sudden it just stops. It does suddenly feel really dramatically different. But not in a bad way, just in one of the ways. So we're getting to the top of the Hamble now, and you probably can't quite tell, but it actually forks off in two directions here. You can head up to the Horse and Jockey, I think it is, a pub, where they've got a little dock and stuff that you could pull up at. I've never been. I'm sure I will at some point, maybe. Not that I'm a drinker. Decidedly boring in that sense. Give me a lime and soda, I'm a happy guy. Although, shout out to the place that I work at, they have made probably the best mocktail I've ever put into my mouth. A little bit of a cheat because it had some chili in it, I believe. But again, that was enough of a kind of interesting, unique sensation that from a cold beverage I wouldn't normally put into my mouth. And it felt like a decent, quite nice, unique thing to consume, to try. So, shout out to, I think it was Mitch, who came up with that concoction. Hellfire, it might be called. Bloody great. Good time. However, you probably won't find that one on the main menu. You might have to earn that one. But I'm afraid I'm sworn to secrecy by Agatha T. Black herself on that front. I did hear news of a coven or something moving into the bar. There's some strange stuff. I mean, there's strange stuff everywhere in that place, but some strange bits and pieces about that worth exploring, I believe. It's good fun. I totally don't know anything about that and definitely didn't create it all myself. Don't know what any of that's about. Anyway, the duck, mallard. It's lovely seeing in the sunlight as you're cruising past. You don't really necessarily catch on photos, but how vibrant the green on mallards' necks ends up shining because of when the sun hits it just right. Similar to seeing kingfishers and that kind of thing. I was really wanting to see a kingfisher for a long time whilst starting out my birding journey before I started paddleboarding. Turns out I should have gotten on just a paddleboard. It was unbelievably easy to down Chichester Canal. I think was my first one. There was just one whizzing up and down. Way and Arun Canal, seen them as well. Weirdly enough, you just need to be where they are and in a quiet enough place, and you never really, people that manage to get decent photos of them standing still for any length of time, I am so impressed by. All I ever tend to see is just a blue flash just whizzing past, which is really, really cool. Still delightful to see. What a just incredible place that is 15 minutes up the road from me. It just makes me so sad that I've gone very nearly 33 years without really exploring it meaningfully, or even knowing it was here, knowing the bridge that I drive across the motorway on opens out into this. Nuts. So, if for some reason part of this footage makes sense to look at my face, you may notice I've got some bone conduction earphones on. I normally, whilst I'm paddling, very quietly just listen to some tunes. Cannot recommend Derek G and his listening club highly enough. If you're a resident of TikTok and YouTube, the internet, and music is something that your algorithm decides that you should be allowed to witness. And you may well have seen some of his interviews on Solid Air. That's how I got introduced to him. Saw the thing with Fred Again, despite having never listened to Fred Again, but that being a name that I've seen crop up and go, all right, okay, fine, Derek, I will witness your program. And I'm now subscribed to his Patreon, going through his back catalogue of all the audio episodes, and the amount of new music that I've discovered thanks to him, which is obviously the point, is just unbelievable. That is so my taste, but stuff that I wouldn't necessarily easily find myself. So I'm very thankful to start listening to that. I cannot recommend it enough. If you want to find new music of all different flavours and genres and tastes, with a bit of a bias towards soul-y, R&B, new funky stuff, which is very much what I'm partial to, and cannot recommend it enough. I'm going to take the left fork here. I'm going to see how the wind actually is and see what the time is. I don't want to get caught out by the tide. I should be in a, what is it? Not even 12:30, so slap bang in the middle of the tide, which is cool. But up this way, which I believe takes me to Fairthorne Manor, there's a really nice little jetty pontoon thing, which I'm going to sit on and take a break because my feet are getting a little bit hurty. Just a little break, please, sir. And okay, I think we're back. Bizarre. Oh, I can hear something behind me. Fucking bugger. Let's get down. Oh, my feet are killing me anyway. I can't be fucked to deal with any wake. Yeah, every time I come up this way, the wind's just been a bit too much, and I haven't timed things quite right to warrant carrying on. And it's amazing the wind once you just get past all this brush, plant, stalk, whatever it is, just the kind of wind tunnel ends up being thrown through here. But after a little sit down break, if I can carry on up there and explore it a bit more, I definitely will. They were grey like geese, I believe. Could be a bean goose, maybe. these two fellas over here. Mixed in with some Canada geese by the looks of it. The first time I saw greylag were in the Netherlands. Went bird watching there last year, I think, actually. Very, very fun going through the border on the ferry with a spy radar dish in the back seat with a parabolic mic. Pink Crocs. Are these yours? Yeah, dude, 100%. Right, what's that radar dish for? Oh, bird watching. Honest. I want to say they're greylag. I will look at Merlin in a moment when I come to a stop. Have a little breaky poo. See what the battery life is on the camera. See if the receiver in my phone has died a death or has still been recording. Have a little drinky poo. The wind is non-existent right now, so I'll probably pick up the recording in a bit and shoot up there, explore that a little bit, and then head on back. I think I'm going to need to put a bit more parking on my car. That's all right. Sorry, I didn't mean it. Okay, no.